You know, before the announcement at Unpacked, I had zero interest in the Galaxy S10e, but afterwards, I think it's the most compelling device that they introduced. Let's talk about it. What's up everyone, Mitesh here with Tech, and today we're going to be talking about the Galaxy S10e, Samsung's answer to the iPhone XR. So much so that it's actually priced the exact same at $750, but we're not really going to be comparing the iPhone XR to the S10e because, let's face it, if you want an iPhone, you're going to be buying the XR or XS or whatever you want. You're not going to be looking at the S10e, but if you're looking at the S10e, you're most likely wondering, is that worth getting over the S10, which is $150 more? So in today's video, I'm going to be making the case for why the S10e is a better device to get than the S10. Now, of course, the S10 is definitely going to have nicer features than the S10e, but I'm going to say that they're not worth the $150 premium you're paying. And in fact, you're going to get the best features of the S10 line in the S10e, so you should buy that instead. So without further ado, let's talk about some of those differences. And of course, you guys start off by talking about the display. So the display on the two devices is slightly different. So first of all, you have a slightly smaller screen with the S10e. You get a 5.8-inch AMOLED display, and it's a slightly lower resolution at 2280 by 1080. It's basically a 1080p panel, just a little bit stretched out. Whereas on the S10, you're getting a 6.1-inch display with a 1440p resolution. Now, one of the really nice things is the fact that both of them have AMOLED displays. So you're getting Samsung's best technology when it comes to displays. You're going to get HDR content on the S10e just like you would with the S10, just slightly lower resolution. And it's not as low resolution as the iPhone XR, which is, you know, just a little bit like 720p, but upscaled a little bit. Maybe it's like 900p and upscaled a little bit. So it's not quite that low. It is full 1080 plus. So you're getting a really great display with the S10e. Now, the only other difference there is in the display, aside from the size, is the fact that the S10 has those sloping sides just like the S8 and S9 had, whereas the S10e has a very flat display like normal smartphones have had for a while. Now, I actually think some people may like the flatter design better than the S10. I've heard some people complain that they don't like those sloping sides. The bezels seem a little bit bigger on the S10e, but I don't think it's once again a huge deal because you're still getting that cutout display. You're not getting a notch on here, so it's pretty great in every way. Now, the next thing we gotta talk about is cameras, because the S10 has one more camera than the S10e. But because the S10 has 3 rear cameras, the S10 gets 2 rear cameras. So that's pretty great. And they both just have a single front-facing camera, which is the exact same on both of them. The main camera on both of these is the exact same. So you're getting the same 12 megapixel dual aperture camera that you're getting on the S10, S10 Plus, on the S10e. That means you're getting the best camera that Samsung makes on the S10e. And for the secondary lens, you're actually getting the ultra wide versus the telephoto, which I think is a better lens for most people. I think the ultra wide lets you get more into the shot, and it's just a better camera to have. Either way, I think it's really awesome that they're at least giving you 2 lenses versus the 3 that you got on the S10. The S10, you will also get that telephoto lens, so you have 3 different lenses, which is really awesome. But the S10e getting just slightly 1 less lens, I think it's good enough. And finally, we have some smaller differences like battery capacity. So the S10e has a 3100 milliamp hour battery, whereas the S10 has a 3500 milliamp hour battery. But because it has a lower resolution display, lower resolution, smaller display, the S10e will likely get about the same battery life that the S10 will. So battery-wise, I think it'll be roughly even. And then finally, in terms of performance, you're getting the exact same CPU on both of these. So in the United States, you'll have the Snapdragon 855 on both of them, and it will run just as well. The only difference is the S10e will have 2 gigabytes less of RAM. But before you think that's actually going to make a difference, the fact is it's got 6 gigabytes of RAM still, because the S10 has 8 gigabytes of RAM. Now, the thing is, most people are never going to reach that top limit of RAM because you're never going to be pushing your phone that hard. Unless you're someone who's playing games all the time or doing like serious video editing on your phone, you're never going to need those 8 gigabytes of RAM that you have on the S10. Instead, the 6 gigabytes are going to be just as good in terms of performance. So I really don't think that little bit difference in RAM is going to make that big of a difference. You still get the expandable storage. You still get the 3.5mm headphone jack just like you do with the S10. So yeah, in every way, I think the S10e is a more compelling device than the S10 just because there is that big price difference. $150 is not nothing, and I think for more people, that's just an easier price to swallow than the S10's $900 price tag. Hey guys, so I was in the middle of editing and I realized I forgot to mention something important differences between the S10 and S10e, and that is in terms of fingerprint readers. So the S10 is using an all new type of fingerprint reader that's in the display. So it's right underneath the display, it uses ultrasonic to read your fingers, and it's supposed to be much more secure than even like the optical ones that are on the OnePlus 6 or OnePlus 6T. But it is slower. From the videos I've seen, I'll have one linked up here by Matthew Moniz, it is a noticeably slower fingerprint reader. So that's not great. The S10e still has a fingerprint reader, but this time it's actually side mounted. So where the power button is, it doubles as a fingerprint reader. I don't know if people will love this design, and for me personally, I would have preferred if they just left it on the back, but it's still in a location that's pretty useful, and I think it'll work better than the in-display one that's on the S10. So yeah, that is a small little difference, and I just want to make sure you guys knew about that. So let's get back to the video. So yeah, those are the reasons I think the S10e is a more compelling device for the average user. Now, if you're someone who is super into technology and you want the latest and greatest, yeah, the S10 is there. Go buy it. It's a fantastic device, and it actually gives you value for your money, which, you know, it's hard to say for a $900 or $1,000 smartphone, but Samsung really gives you all the features possible on their smartphone. So yeah, if you want to, definitely go that route. But I think for most average consumers, the S10e is good enough. But with that, that's pretty much all I have for you guys in this one. Like this one if you liked it, subscribe if you guys loved it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.